Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a professional match of StarCraft 2. Spawning here in the southwest corner of New Repugnancy and playing with the blue Terran SCVs. He's from South Korea. People call him the Machine. Of course, that means we're looking inside of the main base of INnoVation. His opponent in the opposite corner playing with the red Zerg drones, also from South Korea. I mean, people call him the Leenock. I guess that already kind of spoils who he is, but of course, we have none other than Leenock. Now, it looks like this is another one of those games where the players are chatting away. I sadly don't speak or read Korean myself. If someone wants to go ahead and translate it for us, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching here that are curious to hear what they are saying as well. If you go ahead and post it down below in the comment section, that would be pretty interesting. I'd be interested to hear what they have to say. Anyways, this should be an awesome match. So Leenock, of course, a very strong Zerg player from South Korea. On INnoVation, he's the current rank 29 on the planet, that he's got roughly $300,000 in earnings. I do feel, though, he has got a very tough road ahead of him. Here's the thing. INnoVation has always been considered to be one of the strongest players in the world, and right now, he is on fire. He's the current rank 4 on INnoVation. I mean, people call him the Machine for a reason. His macro and his production in general is just insane. This man can produce a lot of stuff. And actually, a fun fact about INnoVation, with the exception of 2018, ever since 2011, he has won a premier event every single year. And yes, that also includes 2019, as he already won a WESG for $150,000 against Serral in the grand finals. In total earnings, he has got roughly $700,000, and obviously that only includes his tournament winnings in total, and not his team salary and all that. But anyways, this is already a bit of a cheeky moment right here. We see Leenock going for a quick spawning pool. He split off the Zerglings into 2 packs, 1 pack of 4 and then 1 pack of 2. These right here are the indication that yes, it is going to be a spawning pool first, but also that INnoVation is safe to send his Reaper across the map. And that means that this SCV right here on the low ground that's building the command center is going to be in a little bit of trouble, as Leenock sends 2 of those links into the main base. And already some mind games here are at play. Going for a pool first, small investment for Zerg in general. I like this, though. This is completely blindsiding INnoVation here initially, who did figure out roughly what's going on by the time that he got like halfway across the map. But it's just a cheeky move, right? This is annoying for the Terran, as Zerg really does not make much of an investment with this kind of strategy whatsoever. And actually, look at that on the production tab. We see more Zerglings right now being produced by Leenock, who apparently plans on being very aggressive here in the early game. Zergling speed should be finishing up here in just a little bit. Obviously, if you go for that spawning pool pretty quick, you can start up the upgrade pretty early on here as well. It obviously is absolutely critical that this is unscouted here by the Reaper, as INnoVation is microing back and forth. A lot of links are waiting to come out, and well, for the time being, oh, okay. For the time being, he has absolutely no idea what's going on. Now, this Overlord, it will be picked off, but it's also baiting some of those Marines a little bit further out onto the map than they normally would anticipate. INnoVation, though, does scout exactly what's going on, quickly puts the barracks down once again as well. He needs to up the depot. You need to up the depot. A couple of the units are on top of the depot, and that means that, indeed, the Zerglings swarm into the main base here of the Terran player. The Reaper did make its way back home, but this is once again a lot of damage that's being dealt here by the red Zerg player, who on the back of this is happily macroing up on 3 bases, and I think a lot more SCVs may very well get picked off as well, as Leenock completely blindsides the early game here of INnoVation, and he manages to deal a ridiculous amount of damage. Now with the siege tank out, yes, you definitely want to keep it unsieged in this scenario. Eventually, they should all be cleaned up, but that already is a ton of damage in just the first couple of minutes of the game. And this is one of those moments where, yes, it hurts economically, but mentally it sucks as well, right? Like, INnoVation is known for its mechanics. He's known for just simply producing a lot of stuff and for not slipping up in the first like 10-15 minutes of the game. This is a big mistake for someone who has played thousands of this kind of Terran early game. But apparently Leenock figured out a weakness right there in INnoVation's playstyle, and well, I guess the cherry on top right there was that barracks floating over to try and pick off that Overlord, right? He already was committed to making a lot of Zerglings before that, but he ended up dealing a lot more damage because indeed he had to scramble to get all of the units back on the very tippity top of that ramp. And with the depot just barely not raised in time, the Zerglings ended up dealing a tremendous amount of damage. Obviously, that's quite a bit of a risk as well. Now, I love this. INnoVation, he brought 2 siege tanks towards the other side of the map. He's putting a bunker over here. Dude, yes! Get the tanks over there! I love this kind of play so much as a Terran player, right? This is so cool. Look. So, how are you gonna break this if you're Zerg? I love the fact he brought an SCV as well, right? This is so difficult to break right now. Leenock does have a lot of Zerglings, I guess. And he does have a bunch of queens and all that. He's actually now sending the Zerglings to move across the map instead. This third base is essentially as good as dead as INnoVation is patrolling that medevac for just a little while. Now, once again, Zerglings managed to slam down a mineral line here. This is actually quite painful, man. Oof. With the lack of a third command center completing that wall off right there at the front, because of course we see the Terran player favoring the engagement here on the other side of the map instead. Apparently Lynx can continuously flood in, and this is a lot of damage actually that Terran is taking in the meanwhile at home as well. Another siege tank and another, oh my god, and a whole bunch of marines make their way across. Now the queens apparently are ready to move, but no way. There's no way. You guys are not gonna break this. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. There's a lot of tanks there. There's still so many units. He's desperately trying to clean all of this up. Looks like the aggression on the other side of the map has been shut down by Terran there. A lot of SCVs were picked off as well, but this third hatchery is as good as dead right now, as indeed we are leading right now towards the mid game in a very explosive early game of Terran versus Zerg. Well, banelings are out, but I mean, do you really want to waddle those over? I love this though, that he like brought an SCV over to like make... That's so difficult to break. That's such a tough position to break. Anyways, in the meantime though, a lot of Zerglings are once again trying to make their way across the map. Keep in mind, a lot of depots were killed there, which once again means that INnoVation does not have a wall protecting this area of the map. The banelings made their way over here. We see centrifugal hooks coming up right now, but that's not going to be done for another little while. Question is, do you want to commit to this right at this point? INnoVation, typing a question mark. Maybe feeling a little bit cheeky here. Now I'm really curious what they were talking about in the early game. Apparently dropping off one of the siege tanks as well, just to like, you know, rub salt in the wounds, I suppose. It's a little bit annoying, but I guess he may have actually spotted the tail end right there of a couple of those banelings, as finally Leenock decides to, at the very least, move forward. Does he want to go after... I guess he can just blow up the command center, right? Can he not just blow up the command center? Okay, yes. Great move there. INnoVation decides to cancel the command center just barely in the nick of time because he's way too good to just simply lose a command center for free like that. In the meantime, though, he's also microing a couple of siege tanks here on the other side of the map. And while both players are taking heavy amounts of losses, supply-wise, actually, it is going to be the machine, of course, who has been happily macroing up more and more stuff. Look at the amount of mules. Oh, that Terran economy is going to be booming right now. Well, a lot of them are going to be running low, but temporarily, at the very least, that economy here, that mineral income especially for Terran, is significantly higher. As right now, it looks like we are actually transitioning to watch a relatively normal mid-game. This is the kind of StarCraft, though, that I love watching, right? There's a lot of mutual respect between these kind of players, I'm sure, because they know that the opponent is very good. They've played against each other many times before, and yet they decide to mix it up depending on what map they are playing. Isn't that cool? I love this position. That's such a strong spot. Yeah, you can't take that base. That base is just not gonna keep there. It's not gonna stay alive. I mean, eventually, once you get like Mutas out, or maybe in this case Hydralisk, you can maybe pick it off, but there's a lot of damage already. At the same time, though, there's still that siege tank right over here, that siege tank line over on the other side. Once again, the third base should be picked off. At the same time, though, Centrifugal Hooks is done. We see a group of banelings blowing up that wall. Apparently, one of them also desperately wanted to die by rolling into a building, and that time it was going to be the orbital, but a lot of SCVs will likely go down here, as the majority of the Terran army is stuck on the other side. Looks like the third base of Zerg was picked off. I say third base, but it's actually, I guess, the fourth base now, technically speaking. A lot of Zerglings and banelings, though, do manage to connect here with a couple of those tanks on the other side of the map. The Queen's still running for their lives. One tank there in the back does get cleaned up, and at the same time, the Lynx in the natural of Terran also do get killed. Oh, I need to get surround. Get that tank out of there. Beautiful. Utilizing the splash damage that that other siege tank does to the Zerglings, and then utilizing the splash damage, of course, by essentially letting it kill its own brother there. Once again, we see a lot of damage already being dealt here by both players. Look at that. An explosive game. Love it. Really cool. Okay. So, it looks like we have a little bit of breathing room. Well, I say that as more Zerglings apparently managed to somehow make their way towards the natural. Dude, the fact that continuously these depots have been shut down, it's really, really hurting INnoVation quite a bit. He's losing so much to just Zerglings this game, right? You'd imagine that Zerglings are not really going to be able to get that much work done once Terran gets a bunch of worker or a bunch of units and whatnot out, but it really is hurting this Terran player quite a bit. But anyways, it looks like we have arrived a bit of a lull in this game, as both players are trying to macro up a bigger army. Here's the thing, at this point, balancing the amount of harvesters that you create and then also the amount of army that you produce is really, really difficult, especially for Zerg. In this case, we see Leenock sitting only at 52 drones. That's not a lot of workers, guys. Yeah, that is like half saturation in the main and then like, I guess half saturation without the gas. You know, over there in the third base as well. Leenock is gonna go for a fourth. He's decided to just simply get rid of this base altogether and just not even try get it anymore. Apparently, Martin the Marine managed to make his way across the map to confirm whether or not that base is taken. But here we go. The parade push of INnoVation has begun. This is a pretty scary engagement. There's still a lot of Zerglings out on the map. Anticipating that surround right there, and it does mean that one of the tanks there takes a lot of damage, but the majority of those Zerglings were picked off for essentially free. And a couple of Hydras apparently on a misrally there too, as Leenock once again sends more units out into the map. This is going to be a difficult position to break with the creep cleaned up, right? Well, apparently Martin, no! Oh my god. With the creep cleared up, this is actually a really difficult position to break. Ooh, Banelings. Banelings burrowed underground. Oh, he already scanned once to remove the tumors. He's not going to scan again. I don't think he is. A couple of Zerglings apparently once again made their way across the map, trying their very best to pick up some of these reinforcements. A scan does get utilized, but not with that, or not on that low ground, as the Marines move forward! Oh, that is so satisfying. That is so sick. And all of a sudden, the swarm is here. Hydras, Lings, and Banelings ready to take on the siege tank army here. And apparently, well, Leenock still does not have quite enough there to clean all of it up, but that still got rid of a ton of those Marines. And I think that once these reinforcements come in, he might be able to clean that up. Although, I say that, INnoVation is not done with this push just yet. Normally, I would take this time to retreat, but no. He's gonna continuously move across the map as he brings reinforcements in right now as well. Once again, big clump of Zerglings making their way towards the other side of the map. He's cleaning up some of the creep over here at the third base of Zerg as well. A whole lot of Marines and Marauders get picked off. That's really nice. And they're gonna be able to continue harassing that mineral line as well. At the same time, Terran is stimming forward up to the top of that ramp. A lot of Hydras do get picked off. Leenock trying his very best to hold on towards this, or to this expansion. Ton of SCVs, though, are getting killed on the other side of the map, but this base is important. If this one gets cleaned up, Leenock is going to be in a world of hurt. It's already about halfway done when it comes to the hit points, and, I mean, this is some excellent micro back and forth here from Inno, who once again cleans up a couple of those Zerglings and sends back sends forward rather, a larger amount of units as well. Siege tanks slowly moving forward. INnoVation wants to fight on the edge of the creep. You can engage him right now, but he's not going to fight you on the creep, where the Banelings have a much easier time to connect. And here we go. Leenock decides to pull all of the boys as well from the mineral line. They're here to soak some of that damage as well. Siege tanks, though, from the back are dealing so much damage. One of the tanks right here at the front does get picked off. More reinforcements spawn on that hatchery on the left-hand side as well, and that should be enough to clean up this siege position here from INnoVation. And INnoVation is now going to be the one on the retreating end of that engagement. That was very close. If this base would have fallen, I mean, that would have been the end for the fourth base as well, because you can't properly defend that area of the map anymore. And at that point, you know, you're essentially playing 2 base against, like, 3, right? And Zerg never wants to be a base behind against Terran. You always want to be a base ahead, let alone be a base behind. I mean, if you're a base behind, that's basically game over against someone of the caliber of Inno. Once again, though, a couple Zerglings make their way towards the natural. I really would have liked to see more of like a re-walled area here. I think that would have been absolutely critical. Normally what happens, right, and we see a lot of burrowed Zerglings, by the way, right now, but normally what happens is that you have like a wall of depots, and then you rally all of your barracks towards the depot. So you have one of them lowered, and then obviously you can still send units through it, but you should be able to defend basically any kind of run-by just like that. Once again, a couple of Zerglings get picked off. Leenock also burrows a Zergling right there in the middle of that fight. Couple of links on Burrow over at the third base. We see the same happening right now in the natural. And actually, this is starting to really hurt a lot. We see 39 SCVs killed in total. And now with 10 more Banelings, or I guess, well, 20 more Banelings in total, as well as some of them, I guess, morph in on the other side of the map. But more Banelings are ready to, I guess, roll towards this mineral line of Terran. And INnoVation is just starting an engagement on the other side of the map. He's likely not going to pay attention right here. A couple of Zerglings will be cleaned up here. He's going to think that it's going to be all that cleaned up. And while he's trying to engage here on the other side of the map, the Banelings are ready to roll towards the mineral line as Leenock completely once again blindsides his opponent, and tons of SCVs go down at the same time. He's stepping forward, trying to go after this hatchery. Oh, the Banelings, the target fired down! Beautiful micro there by INnoVation, cleaning up so many of those Zerg units. Yes, he loses 29 SCVs at home, but does he even care? He has got a massive army here. Once again, a couple of Banelings are gonna be burrowed. Okay, this time around, INnoVation scans. He's not gonna fall for that trick twice. Zerglings, once more, are committed to the counterattack rather than fighting the main army. Leenock has decided he wants to do a lot of damage there to the economy, but the thing is, how are you gonna fight this? As Leenock types a couple more Korean words, and then types GG. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one. An action-packed game. Very explosive. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, make sure you hit the like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out, of course, to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day, okay? Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.